Closing one year, beginning another. Listening, reflecting, continuing introduction. At Kibtech, we believe learning and growth happen through listening, reflection, and calm repetition. This unit is designed to help you close one year and begin another without pressure. You will listen to short stories, re-listen when needed, and take time to reflect, not to judge yourself, but to understand. There is no goal to reach and no result to force. The purpose of this unit is simple: to help you pause, gain clarity, and continue forward naturally. Listen, reflect, continue. Story 1. The last day of the year that changed me. On the last day of the year, the city felt quieter than usual. People were still moving, cars were still passing, but everything seemed slower. I was sitting near a window, watching the light change outside, thinking about the year that was ending. It was not a perfect year. Some things worked, some things didn't. I had plans that stayed on paper and goals that felt too far away. For a long time, I thought this meant failure. But that day, something changed. I realized that the year was not about what I achieved, it was about what I learned. I learned that I am stronger than I thought. I learned that starting is more important than finishing. I learned that progress is often invisible while it is happening. I thought about the moments I almost gave up, and the moments I continued anyway. Those moments mattered more than any result. As the year closed, I did not feel pressure. I did not feel regret. I felt clarity. I understood that the new year did not need a new version of me. It only needed a more honest one. When midnight arrived, I did not make a long list of resolutions. I made one simple decision. Next year, I will keep moving, even when I'm unsure. And that felt like the perfect way to begin again. Lesson: the end of a year is a time to reflect, not to judge yourself. Real progress is often invisible while it is happening. A new beginning starts when you choose to keep moving forward. Story 2. What I learned this year without realizing it. For most of the year, I felt like nothing special was happening. Every day looked the same. Wake up, work, responsibilities. Some days were busy, some days were tiring, and many days felt ordinary. I often told myself, this year is passing and I am not changing. But at the end of the year, something surprised me. When I looked back, I noticed small things I had learned without realizing it. I learned how to be more patient, especially with myself. I learned how to listen instead of reacting quickly. I learned that silence can be useful, not uncomfortable. I also learned that not every effort shows results immediately. Some growth happens quietly, under the surface. There were moments when I felt stuck. But now I see that even in those moments, I was learning something. The year did not make me louder, richer, or more successful, but it made me calmer, and it made me more aware. As the year ended, I stopped asking, what did I achieve? And I started asking, what did I understand? That question changed everything. Now, as a new year begins, I carry those lessons with me, not as pressure, but as quiet strength. And that feels like real progress. Lesson: growth often happens quietly, without big signs. What you learn matters more than what you achieve. Understanding yourself is real progress. Story 3. The one thing I will not take into the new year. As the year came to an end, I started thinking about what I wanted to carry with me into the new year. People often talk about goals, plans, and resolutions. But that year, I asked myself a different question. What is one thing I should leave behind? At first, I wasn't sure. Then the answer became clear. I realized that all year long, I had been carrying fear. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of starting something new. Fear of not being good enough. This fear followed me everywhere. It stopped me from speaking. It stopped me from trying. It stopped me from moving forward. The strange thing is that the fear was never loud. It was quiet. It appeared as doubt, hesitation, and excuses. I'll do it later. I'm not ready yet. Maybe next time. On the last days of the year, I understood something important. The fear did not protect me. It only delayed my life. So I made a simple decision. I did not promise to be perfect. I did not promise to be fearless. I only promised one thing. I will not take this fear into the new year. I know it may still appear sometimes, but I will not let it decide for me anymore. As the new year begins, I feel lighter, not because everything is solved, but because I finally chose to move forward. And that feels like a real beginning. Fear does not protect you. It delays your growth. Leaving fear behind creates space for progress. Moving forward is a powerful way to begin again. Lesson: not everything needs to go as planned. Flexibility reduces stress. Sometimes adapting is the best decision. Story 4. A promise I made to myself for the new year. On the first morning of the new year, everything felt quiet. The streets were calm. My phone was silent. There was no pressure to rush anywhere. I sat with a cup of coffee and thought about the year ahead. In the past, I used to make big promises. I will change everything. I will never fail again. I will become a new person. Those promises never lasted long. This year, I decided to do something different. I made one small promise, not to the world, but to myself. I promised to be consistent, not perfect. To show up, even on days when motivation is low. To continue, even when progress feels slow. I promise to speak when I have something to say. To try, even if the result is not ideal. To stop waiting for the perfect moment. I know there will be difficult days. Days when I feel tired. Days when I doubt myself. But this promise is not about pressure. It is about direction. At the end of this new year, I don't want to ask, did I succeed? I want to ask, did I stay true to myself? And today, that promise feels enough to begin. Lesson: consistency matters more than perfection. Small promises are easier to keep than big declarations. Direction is more important than pressure. Story 5. I didn't reach my goals, and that's okay. At the beginning of the year, I had clear goals. I wrote them down carefully. I told myself, this is the year I will succeed. As the months passed, some things worked. A few goals were completed. Some plans moved forward. There were small wins that made me proud. But not everything went as expected. Some goals stayed unfinished. Some ideas needed more time. And some days I felt disappointed in myself. For a while, I focused only on what I did not finish. I forgot to look at what I had already done. Near the end of the year, I stopped and looked again, calmly. I realized that progress is rarely perfect. Success does not happen all at once. The goals I reached gave me confidence. The goals I didn't reach gave me clarity. They taught me what works for me. They showed me where I need patience. This year did not give me everything I wanted, but it gave me something better, understanding. And now I can say this with peace. I didn't reach all my goals, and that's okay, because I reached some, and I learned from all of them. Lesson: progress is not all or nothing. Unfinished goals still teach important lessons. Understanding grows when you look at results calmly. Story 6. The year I was afraid, and what I did anyway. For most of the year, fear followed me quietly. It was not loud. It did not stop me completely, but it was always there. I was afraid of making mistakes, afraid of saying the wrong thing, afraid of starting something I might not finish. Many times, fear told me to wait, to be ready, to be sure, and many times I listened. But there were moments when I felt tired of waiting. One day, I realized something important. Fear was not disappearing with time. It was only growing stronger. So I made a small decision. I did not try to be brave in everything. I did not try to change my whole life. I simply did one thing, even though I was afraid. I spoke when my voice was shaking. I tried when I was unsure. I continued when I wanted to stop. Nothing dramatic happened. The world did not collapse. People did not judge me the way I imagined. What surprised me most was this. Every time I acted despite fear, fear lost a little of its power. At the end of the year, I was not fearless, but I was stronger. And now I understand this clearly. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward anyway. That decision changed my year, and it continues to change my life.
Lesson: fear does not disappear by waiting. Action reduces fear little by little. Courage means moving forward despite fear.
Story 7. A conversation that helped me close the year. A few days before the end of the year, I met an old friend. We sat in a quiet place with no rush and no distractions. We talked about simple things at first: work, family, daily life. Then the conversation changed. My friend asked me a simple question. How do you feel about this year? At first, I didn't know how to answer. I wanted to talk about achievements and goals, but the words didn't come. So I answered honestly. I said that some days were heavy, that some moments were confusing, that I often felt tired, even when things were going well. My friend listened quietly. Then they smiled and said something I did not expect. Maybe this year wasn't meant to make you successful. Maybe it was meant to make you stronger. That sentence stayed with me. As we continued talking, I realized that I was not alone. My friend had doubts too. They had unfinished plans and silent struggles. When the conversation ended, I felt lighter. Not because my problems were solved, but because they were understood. That conversation did not change my year, but it helped me close it with peace. And sometimes that is exactly what we need. Lesson: honest conversations bring relief. Being understood matters more than being successful. Peace often comes from sharing, not fixing everything. Story 8. What I want my life to feel like next year. When people talk about the new year, they often talk about goals: more money, a better job, big changes. This year, I decided to ask myself a different question. What do I want my life to feel like next year? I closed my eyes and thought about it. I don't want my life to feel rushed. I don't want to feel constant pressure. I don't want to feel like I am always running behind. Instead, I want my life to feel calmer, more balanced, more intentional. I want to wake up without stress. I want to focus on what matters, not on everything at once. I want to make decisions with clarity, not fear. This doesn't mean I don't want progress. It means I want progress that feels right. I know there will still be difficult days, busy days, uncertain moments. But next year, I want to meet those moments with patience instead of panic. I don't need my life to look perfect. I just want it to feel aligned. And that feeling, more than any goal, is what I am choosing to carry into the new year. Lesson: goals matter, but feelings guide direction. A calm and intentional life creates better progress. Alignment is more powerful than perfection. Story 9. The small habit I'm taking into the new year. At the end of the year, I realized something important. Big changes don't always last, but small habits often do. In the past, I tried to change everything at once. I made long lists and big plans. Most of them didn't survive more than a few weeks. This time, I chose one small habit. Every day, I will take 10 quiet minutes. 10 minutes to pause. 10 minutes to think clearly. 10 minutes to breathe. It doesn't sound impressive. No one will notice it. But I know it will make a difference. Those 10 minutes will help me slow down. They will help me listen to myself. They will help me respond instead of reacting. Some days I might forget. Some days I might be too busy. And that's okay. This habit is not about discipline. It is about intention. I don't need a perfect routine to move forward. I just need a small, consistent step. As the new year begins, this habit goes with me. Quiet, simple, and powerful. And I know it will support everything else I want to build. Lesson: small habits last longer than big plans. Consistency matters more than intensity. A simple step, repeated, can support real change. Story 10. I am not starting over. As the new year begins, people often say the same thing. New year, new me. This year, I don't feel that way. I am not starting over. I am continuing. I am continuing with more awareness, with more patience, with fewer expectations and more trust. The past year didn't give me clear answers. It gave me better questions. Questions that slow me down instead of pushing me. I no longer feel the need to rush into change. I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to reinvent myself. I know myself a little better now. I know what drains me. I know what supports me. I know when to pause and when to move. The new year feels quiet, not empty, just open. There will be plans. There will be challenges. There will be days when things feel unclear. But I am not afraid of that anymore. I am not waiting for the perfect moment. I am already in motion. This year is not a restart. It is a continuation, and that feels right. Lesson: you don't need to start over to move forward. Growth continues through awareness and trust. Being in motion matters more than dramatic change. Conclusion: as you finish this unit, remember that nothing needs to be rushed or forced. What matters is not perfection, but awareness. Take what stayed with you, leave what doesn't, and continue forward, calmly, confidently, and at your own rhythm. This is how one chapter ends and how another begins.